Good evening, everybody. I'm Nick. Welcome back to Polar Ice Creamery. This video is going to be a blind comparison. So previously, if you've watched any of our videos, had a look at our channel, we made the other version of this, the Twists Cookie Dough Twist. It went quite well. It had two different colour chocolate chips in it, all combined, so it had a green and blue chocolate chip throughout. I didn't manage to make those, I did them independently in colour, but the result was pretty decent. So we're going to try this one. I've not tried it, as you can see it's completely sealed. Now I've used their ingredients that they show on their website. It's a new method, that's what's in here. Before we compare, let's see how we made it. So this one is going to start completely different to most of our other videos. It's water in the pan, and to that we're going to add our sugars. So it's dextrose and just straight table sugar. Mixed into the sugar is our stabilizers, which is a guar gum and carrageenan mix. That's a 70-30 mix. I'll put some details in the description. Dissolve the sugars down, and then what you're going to do is add in your condensed milk and your egg yolks. Keep stirring that nice until it's combined, then finally add in your cocoa powder. As your mix starts coming up to temperature, again, to cook the egg yolks, we're looking at something around 65 to 70 degrees. You can then add in your cream, and not a lot of cream going in this, so it'll be quite interesting to see the result. Once that's ready, you can take it off the heat and put it in a container as normal, pop it in the fridge until it's ready to churn. Now for the cookie dough core, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our room temperature butter, really nice and soft. Add to that your sugars, which is both brown and white sugar. Get that mixed really nice. Add in a touch of vanilla extract and then your golden syrup. If you don't have golden syrup where you are, you can just use corn syrup. Not the high fructose stuff though, that's just disgusting. Once that's nicely combined, you're going to add in your cocoa powder and your heat treated flour. This is in the UK, this is plain flour, or in North America, all-purpose flour. To heat treat it, you have to heat it up to 180 degrees for 10 minutes. Let it cool down completely, otherwise you'll end up melting a plastic sieve like I did before. Then mix it really well, and finally add in your chocolate chips. Get that nicely mixed together. Rather than put it in any other kind of container, I've put it in a bag so it cools down nice and quickly in the fridge. Once that's completely cooled, you can mold it into the shape of the core, and then once it's rolled up into a nice cylinder, pop it back in the freezer. So now that your ice cream base is chilled in the fridge, this is probably going to take 3 to 4 hours. Take it out and put it in your ice cream machine and let it churn as normal. Just before the end of the churn, you can add in your chocolate chips to the mix, make sure they're well combined into the ice cream itself, and then start loading up the tub. There's no swirls or nothing to do here, so just fill up your tub, but make sure you leave some space at the top. I'd recommend something around an inch, because you're going to insert your chocolate cookie dough core straight into the middle like this. If there's any space left on the top, then just top it up with your ice cream mix. Then put the whole tub in the freezer for a good few hours just to harden off completely. There we go. It's really weird. No milk. Vegan ice creams, I'm used to making those with no milk, but for a dairy-based ice cream to not use milk, it's a new one on me. One thing to note is it was quite thick, quite viscous base. That usually tends to mean a creamier, less icy finish. Sometimes it means you end up with a block of ice, but by and large, this came together really, really well. Now, the double or Dough-ble chocolate cookie dough twist is described as chocolate ice cream with swirly chocolate cookie dough center and chocolatey chunks. So what we're going to do, I think, is get the ice creams out of both of these tubs, cut them in half and put them on a plate so we can do a direct comparison. There we go, both ice creams came out of the tubs pretty well. I had to warm them up in my hands. You can warm them up under the tap if you wanted to do this with an ice cream that you make, just so you can see how they compare to the shops. Now, I know, that Ben & Jerry's use what's called a dropper to insert the cookie dough. It's actually quite liquid in comparison to ours when they do it, and as you can see, it's kind of a bit of a funky shape. Ours, we've got complete control over the shape of ours, how it's put into the ice cream. We can obviously create a perfect shape core. It's nothing detrimental to Ben & Jerry's, it's just how it's done on a mass production scale. Colour wise, I think ours is just a little bit darker. It's icing up because it's just come out of the freezer, but I think it's a little bit darker. Cookie dough, slightly different colour. I'd say ours is a bit more traditional chocolate colour. That one's quite dark, but I don't know what cocoa powder they use. I can't find out. There's so many different cocoa powders. Trying to track it down is just going to be a nightmare, so use whatever cocoa powder you like the taste of. I think pound for pound though, I'm pretty happy with that. My wife has just pointed out that there's more chocolate chips in ours. I can't see, I can see one. There's a chocolate chip there, but you know. Let's try some of each and see how we got on. I'm really happy with ours. The taste of the ice cream is really good. Now, I'm really impressed with this style or this method of making. It's super, super creamy. It's, you know, there's no iciness. The texture is super smooth. Really, really nice. Obviously, I've used cocoa powder that we've used before. They seem to only use fat reduced cocoa powder in their recipes, so that's what we've used here. I think the Decadent one that I used was 12%. But trying to find out again what they use is very difficult. It scoops really well, it's really smooth, it's kind of bordering on gelato kind of texture. And something to note is that the mix or the recipe in the description below makes about 700 to 750 milliliter base mix. Now that's actually under the minimum requirement for our machine. So I'm going to say we probably didn't get quite as much overrun as we should do. But, you know, most people don't have machines quite this big at home. They have much smaller ones, and in which case that size would do you really well. With that, with the chocolate chips and the cookie dough, you're going to get a solid 1 litre or 2 500ml tubs out of that. The cookie dough, Ben & Jerry's cookie dough is, how do I put this politely? It's crap. It's powdery sugar. That's what you're getting. It disintegrates in your mouth, and the granules of sugar that you're eating, it's really off-putting. It's always been like that. I don't understand why it's that bad, and a lot of people on their websites also say that the same thing. The cookie dough is pretty poor. And also something to note is you don't get a huge amount of cookie dough core in it. You know, as you can see, we took that a little bit out, that fell out. It's yeah, not overly impressed with their cookie dough, kind of everything. But the ice cream itself is a little bit low on flavour, not particularly strong chocolate flavour. Again, we are in control of what we're making here, so you can use any cocoa powder you like, strong flavoured, weak flavoured, whatever suits you. So I'm not surprised that I prefer mine, because I've made it using ingredients that I like. But ultimately, what we've been able to do here is recreate this flavour just much better. So I hope you've enjoyed this direct comparison or blind comparison for the Ben & Jerry's double chocolate cookie dough twist and our own version. It's probably going to be a couple of weeks before we put our next video out. Now we're selling our ice cream, finding it difficult to find the time to do a video every week. You know, we got family to spend time with as well. So in between those times, rather than do full videos, we're going to do some shorter videos, things, you know, like prepping our add-ins for our retail ice cream as well. So there's still lots of content to watch. Hope you stick around. Thanks very much for liking and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.